Good evening, darlings and deviants. My name is Lucy, and I'm just a little loony. And welcome to the final piece of my Lorcana set review of all the cards that we've seen so far that have been revealed. Like I said, this is a review of the cards that we know for sure are out. If there's anything that isn't known about a card, I'm probably not going to cover it. So, without further ado, let's start the show. First off, we have Goons, Maleficent's Underlings. For a 1 cost, we have a Storyborn ally, 2 strength, 2 willpower, and 1 lore. I don't really like this one, not a huge fan of it, specifically because we have an even better 1-drop coming up later. I'm gonna do something that I believe is unprecedented. I'm giving this one 1 out of 5 top hats. Top hats has a review score because, well, you know, the obvious. 1 out of 5. I'm not a huge fan of this one. I am a huge fan of this one. Captain Hook, Forceful Duelist. For 1 cost, you get a Dreamborn Villain Pirate Captain, with 1 strength, 2 willpower, and 1 lore with Challenger +2. While challenging, this character gets +2 strength. Being able to trade up with a lot of different cards for 1 cost is insane. I think this card is amazing, and it just kind of beats Goons every time for me. There's not really a whole lot of a reason to play it. Plus, it's a villain in addition to that. Being able to play with villain tribal synergies, I just think Captain Hook far outclasses Goons in any conceivable way. Next up is Prince Eric. Dashing and Brave. For 2 cost, get a Storyborn Hero Prince with 1 strength, 3 willpower, 1 lore, and Challenger +2. While challenging, this character gets +2 strength. I'm gonna go ahead and give Prince Eric 3.5 top hats out of 5. Because being able to trade up, like I said, is very valuable for a 2-drop, and he survives most of the time when he challenges something. The issue is, if he tries to quest, he's not very useful in that regard. Like, for example, while if somebody stumbles on their 1-drop, Captain Hook can get in for some questing, Eric kinda can't. If you quest with him, it's more than likely they have a 2-drop by this point, and a lot of 2-drops can test him very much. And then his questing becomes less favorable. Well, his challenging becomes less favorable. So, I'm gonna go ahead and give him 3.5. He's not bad, and he'll probably be a playmaker in a lot of decks. I just don't think he's that great. Next up, we have Tinkerbell, Tiny Tactician. For a 3 cost, you get a Dreamborn Ally Fairy with 2 strength, 4 willpower, and 1 lore with Battle Plans. Exert, draw a card, then choose and discard a card. So, personally, I think this is 5 top hats out of 5. I love Tinkerbell. I love everything she is about. I love Tinkerbell, but I do have to make some form of subjective view on the card, and I don't think she's that bad. But I think the problem with her is that there's not a lot of slots to put her in. I think I have to give her a 2.5 out of 5 top hats, just because, like, she has a decent amount of willpower, she has a decent amount of strength, but that 1 lore kind of makes it a little bit weaker. It's not card draw, it's card selection, and card draw is the more necessary thing in this game. I don't think she's that great, in my opinion, but I love Tinkerbell, so yeah, I'm torn internally on this one. Next up, we have Hercules, True Hero. For a 3 cost, you get a Dreamborn Hero Prince with 3 strength, 3 willpower, 1 lore, and Bodyguard. This character may enter play exerted. An opposing character who challenges one of your characters must choose one with Bodyguard if able. I'm going to be honest, I think Bodyguard is an amazing mechanic. However, on Hercules, it's a bit weaker because it's basically just going to trade with 1 card. I'm going to go ahead and give him 3.5 out of 5 top hats because he can, in a pinch, protect some of your big scary threats, but on the other hand, him not having a strong amount of willpower makes it to where he kind of dies to a stiff breeze. For example, he kind of dies to every challenger that we've seen on this list so far, so he's kind of a bit weaker in that regard. Next up is Kristoff, Official Ice Master. For 3 cost, you get a Storyborn ally with 3 strength, 3 willpower, and 2 lore. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna keep rating these vanillas around the same depending on their context. It's gonna be a 3 out of 5 top hats for me, specifically because I'm not sold on how good vanillas are until we get the rest of the set. These vanillas could be pretty crucial to like filling out your deck slots. Being a 3/3 does trade with a lot. it does contest a lot of the stuff we've seen on this list. For example, if they play Prince Eric, they challenge something else, he can then go and clean it up. He contests the Hercules. I think this vanilla is pretty good. Next up is Captain Hook, Captain of the Jolly Roger. For 4 cost, you get a Storyborn Villain Pirate Captain with 3 strength, 4 willpower, and 1 lore, with double the powder. When you play this character, you may return an action card named Fire the Cannons from your discard to your hand. I like this card a lot. There's 2 main downsides to it, however. If you don't have a Fire the Cannons, it's bad. 4 ink for a 3/4 and 1 lore, that's not super phenomenal. However, if you do have a Fire the Cannons, it's insane. Because of reasons we'll get into later, it's pretty great. The one other notable downside is that you can't ink this Captain Hook. That is a notable downside because he is just kind of a mid-range value generator. He's a one and done. A lot of the other cards that aren't inkable are big, swingy haymakers. This card's just more of a value card. So I'm gonna give this guy, even knowing that, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. I think this is gonna be a staple in a lot of steel decks, depending on what they're going for. Mostly because Fire the Cannons is such a staple, I feel, that this card is just leagues above a lot of the other cards in this deck, in this color. Next up is Beast Hardheaded. For 5 cost, you get a Storyborn Hero Prince with 4 strength, 4 willpower, and 2 lore with Break. When you play this character, you may banish chosen item. I'm gonna be real, this is a very techie card. I think the 2 lore and the 4/4 in stats may end up saving it. I'm gonna go ahead and give this guy 3.5 out of 5. With the caveat that, like, if it hits an item, it's a 5 out of 5. It's insane. But you're not always gonna have an item, and the items that we have now aren't super phenomenal. So we're gonna go ahead and gonna pivot a little bit. It's 3.5 out of 5. Next up is Mickey Mouse Musketeer. For 6 cost, you get a Dreamborn Hero Musketeer with 2 strength, 7 willpower, 2 lore, and bodyguard. And all for 1, your other Musketeer characters get +1 strength. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, this card is a 5 out of 5. Keep in mind, for 1, it counts other instances of itself. So if you have 2 Mickey Mouses, they both have 3 strength. In addition, bodyguard with 7 willpower is amazing. This is a wall that they have to get through. 2 strength is a lot. You're gonna just be questing with it every turn. This card's insane. I really like the 7 willpower on this card, and it's inkable to boot. I really love this Mickey Mouse. Next up is Simba Returned King. For 7 cost, get a Storyborn Hero King with 4 strength, 6 willpower, 2 lore, and Challenger +4. While challenging, this character gets +4 strength and pounce. During your turn, this character gains Evasive. I really like this card. Evasive is a very powerful mechanic, but like this doesn't get it in terms of questing, it gets it in terms of challenging. But that's all you need, honestly. Sometimes they're gonna have an evasive threat that you just can't deal with. We've covered Genie already. We've covered some other cards like Brave Little Tailor. This card deals with it. I think Simba's really great. I'm gonna give him a 5 out of 5 just because he's a great top end. He's fantastic. 6 willpower is a lot, and 4 strength makes him hard to trade into. He's great. Next up is Gantu, Galactic Federation Captain. For 8 cost, you get a Storyborn Alien Captain with 6 strength, 6 willpower, 2 lore, and Under Arrest. Characters with cost 2 or less can't challenge your characters. I really like the flavor between this and Rockstar Stitch. Rockstar Stitch gets benefits from playing things that cost 2 or less. Gantu's like, no, you can't do that. That's a good flavor win. However, as a card, I don't like Gantu that much. For 8 cost, 6/6 is kind of weak. It dies to Simba, for instance. It also dies to a good many other things, and if you can trade in 2 of those, it's not that good. Now, he makes it to where they have to trade in very relevant cards to get to him, and he comes into play and starts off with that effect. The issue is we don't really have a lot of tools to get him out faster. If you're playing Sapphire and Steel with ramp, there's other things you might want to be doing. I think I'm going to go ahead and give Gantu a 3... No, we're gonna go 2.5 out of 5. Just looking at him, every time I've had him in my hand, I've been unimpressed. And the thing is, like, a 3 or a 4 cost card can end up trading with him on its own sometimes. It's not that good. Next up is moving into the actions. With Fire the Cannons, we have a 1 cost action that is deal 2 damage to chosen character. This is fantastic. We don't have a lot of removal in this game right now, so Fire the Cannons is great. The one notable downside is that it can't be inked. So if you're playing both this and the Captain Hook, things get a little awkward, honestly, because you may end up with these cards just clogging up your hand. However, if your curve is lower on the end, you might be just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and give Fire the Cannons a 4 out of 5. It's fantastic removal. Splashes into any steel deck, honestly, but it's a bit awkward in terms of, you need the combo synergies. 2 damage sometimes doesn't quite break a breakpoint. I think it's okay. If we had more removal spells to compare it to, I might mark it lower or higher, but as it stands now, I think it's fine at a 4 out of 5 top hats. Next up is Smash. For a 3 cost action, we get deal 3 damage to chosen character. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the same vein as Fire the Cannons. It's a 4 out of 5. The main reason I'm putting it this quote-unquote low is because, honestly, it's a bit weaker compared to some of the other cards. 3 damage is kind of a weak choke point. However, the big benefit this one has over Fire the Cannons is that it's inkable. If you don't have anything to remove at this point in time, or if your current board can handle the current situation, you can ink it and continue to advance your plays forward. I think this card's pretty good, so we're going to leave it at 4 out of 5. I'm not super impressed by it, but it's okay. Next up is Beast's Mirror. For a 2 cost item, you get Show Me. Exert and pay 3. If you have no cards in your hand, draw a card. I'm going to be real, this card's a little hard to identify, because every time I'm thinking about it, it's like, well, would I rather play Magic Mirror? Well, Magic Mirror draws a card, but it costs more. But it's unconditional, but it can't be inked. It's really a kind of toss-up which mirror is better or worse. I'm gonna put it at a 3 out of 5, mostly just because Beast's Mirror, it draws you cards still. You can, at worst, ink a card from the top of your deck, or draw a card, or play the card first, and then you can draw a card with it. Again, it's kind of situational. It's not all-purpose card draw like Friend Like Me is, for instance, and it doesn't really search through a lot of your deck like other songs do. I'm gonna go ahead and hedge it on this one, 3 out of 5. Next up, we have Frying Pan. For 2 cost, you get an item with Clang. Banish this item. Chosen character can't challenge during their next turn. I'm giving this one... It has playability in Item Slingers. That's honestly about it that I've seen. I've been unimpressed with this whenever I play it. I rarely ever banish it because there's never really a time that I don't want something to challenge. More often, I'm wanting things to not quest. I'm okay with them challenging my stuff. I'd rather them not quest and win the game. So I'm going to give Frying Pan a 1 out of 5. It's not phenomenal or anything. If you're in Item Slingers and you need it, it's fine. But even then, I would probably rather run Beast's Mirror if you're playing that. Well, that should do it for both the steel cards and, well, all of the cards that we've seen so far. Again, keep in mind, this is all of the cards that have been revealed officially with all of their information. I'm not doing speculation. I think Cerberus might be good. We just need some more information about it before I talk about it in length. That's it. That's all the cards that we've seen so far. Now that you've seen all my reviews, let me know what you think. Do you think I got everything on the nose? Do you think I was a little too generous with some reviews? Or do you think I was just flat out wrong with some of these calls? Let me know down in the comments below. Hey, while you're down there, give me a like and a subscribe. Lets me know that you like content like this, lets me know I'm doing a good job, and lets me know that you want to see more. As always, thank you all so very much for watching, and until next time, au revoir!